Hello and welcome. We are back with another episode of the Foxy podcast. I'm your host, Foxy, and today I'm joined again by, I had you on last time, I said I'd get you on again. It's Barry.
Hello, guys.
It's almost going to be like a recurring thing now, like you'll become the host of this eventually. But how are you today?
I'm pretty good.
Alright. Now, obviously, everyone's all cooped up inside, unfortunately, with this pandemic, or whatever you want to call it. But let's just try and lighten the mood. Anyway, so today's topic, we've decided, is going to be comics and just superheroes and just,
Superhero movies,
nerdiness in general. So,
animated TV shows.
yeah. So, okay, for me, obviously, I grew up, you see Batman, Superman, Justice League, Spider-Man,
X-Men,
Jesus, there was so many good cartoons during that time.
especially those early series. X-Men series, the Spider-Man TV show, the Batman animated series is the best. Out of them all, though.
And that was a long-standing TV
4
show.
seasons.
Really enjoyed that,
And then all the branch off movies that came out from it.
yeah, we had Mask of Phantasm, we had Return the Joker, which eventually came by. We also had Sub-Zero.
Yeah, and wasn't that from the Batman?
No, the Batman had Batman versus Dracula.
Oh, yes.
That's when they did that. Yeah. It's obviously, because we're big fans of Batman, then when we talk about Batman. So, Batman is a comic book character. He's celebrated his 80th anniversary, which is a long time to be around. But his popularity has grown so much that he's transcended comics into not only movies, but video games, TV. It's just, yeah.
His name has been added into the Mortal Kombat series because of the crossovers that they've done.
That as well, yeah. He's also crossed over into different dimensions. It's not just a multiverse or whatever they call it, the multiverse, yeah.
Multiverse, yeah.
But no, as I talk about the TV shows, what I was introduced to that in the 1989 Batman movie with Tim Burton.
Keaton brilliant.
Jack Nicholson. I remember watching it as a kid and just he frightened the hell out of me.
Yeah.
The big reveal of him. No, not Batman. The big reveal of Jack Nicholson as the Joker. It's just as you can see, I'm a lot happier
now.
That scared the hell out of me, that scene. And it shouldn't. I don't get why, but it just did. But
a kid,
that tells you how scary that character is. But yeah, the TV show, the movie. Then I was hooked because of the TV show, because it was so good. Even though it was meant to be a kid show, it had a lot of adult themes, which
Yeah, I know. There was a lot of extra stuff.
It was a lot darker for a cartoon. So it made it easier for adults to watch it, but at the same time,
I'll watch it again right now.
yeah, it's very good. If you haven't, go watch it. Batman the Animated Series. Kevin Conroy is the man as Batman.
Mark Hamill is
as the Joker. And he doesn't actually appear in a lot of episodes,
No, he doesn't.
which is strange,
Yeah.
But that's how good he was at the character.
Exactly.
He made such a mark that he didn't even that's unintentional pun there because the actor's name is Mark. But he made a big mark on the character and on people's opinions of it. That he didn't need to be in many episodes, but anything that he was involved in was a big impact.
Yes, it was.
Look at what was it? I mean, even Cesar Romero, when he was doing the 1960s Joker, he was only in maybe a handful, probably 5 to 6 episodes
Yeah,
during the whole series.
it's mad.
But like, you still remember him.
Of course.
You also remember the goofy mustache
Yeah,
that he refused to shave. But
and how silly Batman looked and everybody else looked, but it was the 60s.
it was the
wasn't-
60s.
They weren't trying to be scary or
No.
anything. You know,
They were trying to get
trying
away from all that dark and brooding and
Yeah.
that
It was trying to show the lighter side of Batman.
the real campy. Dunno.
And then you got Michael Keaton's Batman that came along that said no to that aspect and went dark. And then in Batman Returns, it got even darker.
Yeah. Dunno.
I do like that movie, but not as much as
Like
89 Batman.
like it was a murder mystery basically. Dunno. Like he had to prove his innocence in that.
Yeah.
Like that's a really dark tone to take for a comic movie.
Like Dick Tracy or something like that.
Yeah. Jesus, there's a reference. Dick Tracy. But yeah, like then
Then you
Oh.
gotta go slippery slope.
yeah.
You got Val Kilmer, who was okay. Wasn't great, but he was okay. And then you got George Clooney. Bad.
What I would say is like for the likes of those two films that came later, Val Kilmer is a fantastic Bruce Wayne,
Yeah.
but not a great Batman.
Yeah. Same
And
with
same with George Clooney. George Clooney is an excellent like Bruce Wayne,
He's a
Dunno.
rich boy.
a believable like Bruce Wayne. For what they were going for, but a terrible Batman, absolutely terrible. Chris O'Donnell.
High freeze on that man.
Oh, the puns were like flying like 90 in that film.
It's gonna be ice.
What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age.
So bad. Chris O'Donnell in Batman Forever was okay,
He was good for what the role was needed. Like, didn't
but in
in
Batman
Batman
and
Robin.
Robin, not good.
No, he was just annoying.
Yeah, and I actually can't think of anything good about that film. So
Which is
bad.
it's good, but it's bad. In the sense that like you could watch it and make fun of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's enjoyable to do.
Get drunk and watch it. Slag it off.
Slag him.
And then after the death of that series, then we kind of branched over to the Marvel side, and we got like the X-Men and the original like Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies.
Yeah, the Sam Raimi run, with Spider-Man. Which 1 and 2, great.
Great.
3
No.
is unbelievably funny to rip the piss out of.
Yeah.
And anyone that has seen it will know.
And as far as the X-Men series, it has its ups and downs. It really does, because there's some of the movies that are absolute class. They're brilliant. First class. X-Men 1 and 2. The Wolverine in Japan. And
Logan.
And Logan. They're absolutely incredible. And some of the other X-Men movies are great as well. And then some of them are just dog shit. You know what I mean? I didn't even see that Dark Phoenix, but I've heard so much bad shit about it that I'm like,
I did it on my trip. I was on a long flight, and they offered a load of different films to watch, and that was one of them. That was actually the first one I watched, and I was just like, yeah, I can see why people like hate it. Like it just nobody cares in it,
no.
and it's just bad. Like you could definitely tell that even the actors knew this was the end, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it was just woeful.
But there you go.
But at least I watched it, and I can say like, yeah, all right, I get it.
I will give it a look, see.
Yeah.
I just haven't yet.
But like in regards to that, like then we had like, do you remember like when Batman or Superman wasn't around, then we had the likes of Marvel that came in with the X-Men and Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But during that, like, we wouldn't have actually had like many Marvel films if it wasn't for the likes of Blade.
True.
Blade was the first one
Yeah.
to have not.
What was the first Blade came out in like '97 or something like that, wasn't
It was just before the Matrix. Dunno, so the Matrix
Oh.
came out in 98,
it?
99.
'99. That kind of time.
Thereabouts. So around that time
And
frame.
Batman and Robin came out in '98.
Dunno,
I think so.
97.
And so they were kind of coming out after that, down
Yeah, so they needed something, but it
bring it back up again.
wasn't really like, it didn't get a lot of love for what it was.
Blade, I love Blade.
Blade is fantastic. Dunno, Wesley Snipes he is that character. Dunno, like,
Yeah.
you could never look at him and not see Blade.
But you know what the problem with the superhero genre in general, anyway, most of the time, when it comes to the third film, they just give up.
Yeah.
They stop trying.
Mm.
You had it with the Batman movies, like I said already. The Val Kilmer one wasn't great. You had it with the Spider-Man movies. The third one was bad.
X-Men.
X-Men, the third one was bad.
Dunno.
Blade, the third one was bad.
Yeah, like it was just, it was not a good streak for trilogies, dunno, or like anything that went after that.
Yeah.
But during the time like of seeing these films like Spider-Man and all that, we got Christopher Nolan stepping in to take over he was gonna reboot the Batman franchise as a movie.
Batman Begins.
And back in 2005, like, Batman Begins, that is such a good movie.
Yes, it is.
Like, how could you not enjoy that film?
The entire that series, the Nolan series, is great anyway. But unfortunately, Batman or the Dark Knight Rises kind of falls in comparison to the Dark Knight, and Batman Begins stands on its own.
Yeah, I'd agree with that because like it's Dark Knight Rises is good.
Yeah, it really is.
Like, it's not a bad movie. It's just that in comparison to the Dark Knight,
After what happened with the Joker and all.
it's just everyone was expecting Joker. Like
It ended with a cliffhanger.
Yeah, it ended with a cliffhanger, and you knew, like, all right, we're probably going to see Joker again, but obviously,
Tragedy.
and like they did talk about possibly recasting, and they were just like,
Fair play to them not saying no to that.
they all agreed to no, like this can't go on. Like, unfortunately, he done such a good job. With that.
Anybody else stepped into his shoes, they would have been just either copying him, or they wouldn't do a good enough job on it.
And the funny thing is, like, when we're saying that, like, the fact that he did such a good job, before the movie even came out, like, all the promotional stuff, like, promotional photos, we just took one look and we were like, no, like, that's not Joker. Like, what the hell is this? Like, everyone was shitting on him. And then when they seen the film,
saw a little trailer, a clip or something, and then you see his laugh and that part in the bank.
You kind of got a glimpse of it.
Everybody was like, okay.
But the opening scene just set the tone, and straight away you were hooked. It's like, I'm well in for this guy. Like, and just his performance throughout. Like, even like walking into the mobster scene.
My jokes were bad.
Like, what a great way to actually introduce him. In his speaking role. Like, I know he had a couple lines in the bank scene, but this was his proper Joker introduction.
Yes,
that's
true.
Like, some people have compared it to the scene from The Crow. Where like Brandon Lee is going into, because he's after
all the mob guys are all sitting at the table and he stands up on the table.
If you look at it, like, there is like a couple panel comparisons, and it looks so similar. But yeah, what a fantastic job he did! Like, Even like the cast in general for that trilogy, for the
Yes.
Nolan trilogy, was
Yeah, I mean, like
fantastic.
the general cast, like Christian Bale, he's, some people don't. I still think he was a great Bruce Wayne and a really, really good Batman. Just the Batman voice was a little irritating
Yes,
for a lot of people.
that was the
But that's the only problem that I have with him. I actually thought he was a fine Batman. He didn't do an awful lot of fighting, but neither did either of the older ones either. But the standing cast, like of Michael Caine as Alfred,
to the like
Lucius Fox,
Morgan Freeman as Lucius Fox,
uh,
Gary Oldman
Gary
as
Oldman.
Commissioner Gordon. Like, did I like
reoccurring roles for these great actors, and then you have Liam Neeson in the first one, and he kind of
Cillian Murphy as the
Cillian
Scarecrow? Didn't I? Like,
so good, so brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. It really was.
the fact that like if you look at like major transformations, like from role to role, look at like Gary Oldman. Gary Oldman went from being like mostly bad guys
Yeah.
to like the most wholesome and like good guy.
Good cop.
Like the goodest good guy you ever seen. Like it's scary. The guy is a comedian, but like you had that with the recording.
Also, I'm sorry, I didn't
Yeah.
mean to interrupt you, but also with the changing of roles from one movie to the next. If you look at Christian Bale from The Machinist,
Yes,
I think
that's a 6 month period. Like
and he is stick thin, and then all of a sudden he's had to bulking up so much. Like he didn't have ripped abs or anything like that, but he was just good. He looked
it was
good,
big.
and that is a difference. That is a big difference. And then when there's parts of it where he's just, just looks the best. He looks absolutely brilliant.
Like he's physically imposing.
Yeah.
Like in some of the scenes.
And Bruce Wayne should be,
Dunno.
because Batman is.
But him out that like he's just like even when you watch the extra features for it, one of the production is like, are we filming Batman or Fat Man? Like he had gotten that big.
Yeah.
Which is a scary thing to say. It's like normally it's the opposite.
Yeah.
But fucking he done the work. He got himself in.
Bulked up.
Yeah, he got himself as big as possible, to the point where they had to slim him down
Yeah.
for it. And not even like in the bad kind of way, like, oh, he's too fat, we can't do it. No, he was like too big, for what they were aiming for. Because obviously, like with the overarching story is that he was a young man for Batman Begins. So realistically, a man that young shouldn't be that fucking big.
No.
But I digress. Like the fact that like when you do the progression from like, all right, Batman Begins, Dark Knight, you had like the likes of Heath Ledger come in. What was his name from fucking Prison Break? He was the agent.
Oh, I know who you mean.
He was in the bank scene.
Yeah.
Like just that's a random
Just
like
a little
guy
extra
for
bit.
a small bit.
Eric Roberts is one of them.
Eric Roberts, yeah. Like then you also had Michael J. White.
Oh yeah.
He was like Gamble,
Yeah.
like the main one, like
This clown, 5,000 dead.
50 grand,
Million alive.
yeah.
Something like that.
Like
So I can teach him some manners.
it's crazy, But like even for that role, like that's a small role.
Yeah. And
Sure.
he's such a known actor as well. Like
Yeah.
Spawn.
Yeah, like, but I mean, like it was no shortage of good. Like look at Aaron Eckhart,
Yes.
like
yeah.
him as like Harvey Dent, and he did a fantastic job of like.
He was so nice and so good, and
Like-
then all of a sudden he's evil.
But the fact that like you knew he's holding it back, he's holding back like an aggressive side. You knew like, all right, he's being portrayed as like the White Knight,
The
as they
nicest
said.
guy.
Dunno.
He's got that guy. He's strapped to a chair and he's flipping the coin and saying, "I'm gonna kill you."
But for him to snap, like because of it,
Yeah.
like
Oh yeah,
it's
as well. Maggie Gyllenhaal.
who
She was very good at it.
who came in as like a replacement for Katie
Katie
Holmes.
Holmes.
Dunno, which was a strange thing that happened. Dunno, like, but luckily enough, like you don't really like.
You know, it doesn't bother
Dunno,
you.
it doesn't bother you. Dunno, but then you move on to
Batman,
Dark Knight Rises.
and you have
Tom Hardy as Bane.
so imposing.
Like, no one would ever not look at him and think like he's nothing. Dunno.
Batman's gonna kick his ass.
No, he's like the
He's
shape that
gonna
he
batter Batman, and he did.
the shape that he got into for that film. Like he went from Bronson to another film where he went incredibly thin
Oh yeah,
to fucking like Bane.
and then he did Warrior after that, didn't he? Or was that
It was around that time. It could have been that. Don't know, but like
stayed in that shape?
so like when it was announced that he was cast, you knew full well he's gonna take it seriously. He's gonna get into the shape that's needed.
He's going to break the bat.
Dunno.
What he did.
I liked how they explained why he wore the mask.
Yeah,
Like it was actually a practical use for it. Then
To keep
Then-
his
yeah,
pain controlled.
yeah, it was constantly administering like pain medication. But he was also freakishly strong as well. But I mean, like there's a casting. And then you have Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Anne Hathaway
Like
as Catwoman.
like
Joseph Gordon-Levitt as Robin.
yeah, Robin Blake. Dunno.
Not a Robin I've ever heard of.
Well, it was like it was Blake,
Yeah.
and then at the end, he used his
Who's your
actual
first name? Robin.
Robin Blake, but it was a great way to like send off like obviously like we're finishing up this, but also like allow for the possibility if we do come back, we have something to going. Then we had a few years gap, because that was like 2000 and
Well, I know that Batman, The Dark Knight came out in 2008,
yeah.
which is the same year that the MCU started.
Yes. Oh, yes. So we had Iron Man, which came out, which nobody really expected
The
to.
kind of people were like, Iron Man? Okay,
Like on paper, when it was announced, like Iron Man, cool. Don't know, but
I'll give it a look, you know.
people weren't expecting it to be like, this is the fucking launch of like an entire fucking thing.
A series of movies that are going to take 18 years or something like that to finish.
Like,
Something like that.
Don't know, like we have a 10-year arc,
Yeah.
which is
definitely.
going to start. Don't know, with this, which is crazy. Don't know,
Now
it's
we're going to move on to the younger generation of the superheroes.
but.
From now on, I mean.
But it's a clever formula that was like brought about, but it's unfortunate that other people don't take that on board.
Yeah.
Because I mean, we've seen what happened. Marvel is having a constant like run of like maybe 2 or 3 movies a year for at least like 7 or 8 years.
Yeah.
Then DC finally decide like, all right, let's do it ourselves, don't I? So they decide, let's bring out the big guns. We'll announce Batman v Superman.
Well, they did Man of Steel, and because of the fact that there was so much destruction, then it was going to have to lead to a sequel. And unfortunately, it was one of the buildings that they crashed through happened to be Wayne Tech, Wayne Enterprises, and that was it. Batman was like,
That was how they shoehorned it in. Then like you had Man of Steel, all that destruction, but like the premise of like Batman v Superman is that he is bitter because of this. Like it's an older Batman.
like the Dark Knight Returns.
Yes, they based it off that. They also came with a new recast of Batman, which was Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck, who is a big comic book fan, knows like he's no stranger to comic book movies. He's done Daredevil in the past,
Yeah.
a film that was so like badly slated and shit on, but if you watch the director's cut, it redeems it.
It's pretty decent.
It's actually a very, very well done film if you watch the director's cut.
And
But
I thought that that Ben Affleck as Batman was actually one of the best Batmans that we've seen in movie wise, because of the fact that he's really smart as Bruce Wayne. You know, he's got all the tech. He's smart. He's outsmarting Lex and stuff like that. And then when he becomes Batman and he fights that warehouse scene, and he just batters every one of them that are in the warehouse, and there's about 20 of them, and he's taking them out, and it's exactly like Batman Begins. Oh no, sorry,
Dark Knight Returns.
Arkham, the Arkham games.
Yes.
The way he fights,
in terms of the brutality,
moves. Because there's certain moves in that I've done in the Batman games. You know what I mean? So.
But I mean, like, with that, like, I do agree, like, Ben Affleck is absolutely brilliant. Like, he was brilliant casting, because he's supposed to be a grizzled, like, veteran.
Yeah.
Like, he's retired from Batman.
Yeah, he gave it up.
He's a lot older, so he's in his mid to late 40s, at this point. Where, like, he's actually a fantastic Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Like, he no nonsense, like, he just straight to the point, and then as Batman, he's just brutal, he
brutal.
does not
And
care.
by the way, the whole Batman doesn't kill thing, I think he threw that out the window in this movie.
Yeah, I know that's one of the reasons, like, people don't like it. It's like, Batman doesn't kill. Well, actually, if you look at the early history of Batman, he does. He's actually killed several people in the history.
The Dark Knight Returns, that cartoon animated movies, I should say.
Yeah, he was more brutal.
He did kill. There was a few people that he definitely killed.
Yeah.
He used a gun and everything, and he does in the movie when he shoots the gas tank.
He's more brutal in that. But like, that movie also suffered as well.
Kicked Superman's ass as well, by the way.
Yeah. But like, with Batman v Superman, like, it suffered because they had announced it like 2.5 years before it came out.
Yeah.
So with that, you had 2.5 years of expectation to live up to, and they overdid it with the advertising for it. Like, it's just the fact that, like, they did it, and then there was nothing, and then it was a cut up movie that you're like, this doesn't make sense. Why is this happening? What who's this?
Yeah, I know.
But yeah,
and then in the Justice League, it was even worse because it was chopped up to bits.
And
so
director's
much
change.
Cut out of it. It was because of a tragedy that Zack Snyder had to step away, which is sad and all. But
even without that, they basically just butchered, like.
And I love Joss Whedon. He made one of my favorite series of all time, and with Buffy. And unfortunately, when he stepped in through to the Justice League, he just did a bad job.
Like, you can tell clearly, like, who directed what scene.
Yeah.
Because
there's a difference in the scene, like how bright it is.
Not only that, but also the dialogue as well. You can tell.
Yeah.
Because, like, Joss Whedon was into doing the humor and a bit of the light-hearted stuff.
Yeah,
like,
there was a lot of humor.
And it made sense to do it for Flash, because he's that kind of character. But
Cyborg walking with Flash, that was kind of, that would be that'd be kind of the thing. But I don't think Wonder Woman needed to be funny.
Or the likes of Batman.
Batman, you know.
Whereas, like, they hit the jackpot when they cast, like, Jason Momoa.
Oh yes.
Because Jason Momoa came in It's like, okay, I'm not gonna do that. Dunno, I'm gonna.
Campy.
They can't be like, dunno, short hair, like nothing. Dunno, I'm gonna actually like put my spin to it. Dunno, and it worked. He also brought a great sense of humor to it.
Yeah.
Like, so much so that when he got his solo movie, it's a very enjoyable movie.
Yes, it is.
Like,
Great movie.
nobody that I've talked to has any issue with that film because it's just a very easy going. Even though it's straight to the story, it's self-contained, which is the biggest plus for me.
Yeah.
But very, very
no
good.
world building going on in it as well. Like
No,
building to him walking with Batman again.
no building to that. There's a couple references, but
Yes.
which is fine, absolutely fine doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're bogged down by like trying to set up for other films, that's stupid. That's what kills it. That's what happened with Batman v Superman. They were trying to set up several people in one film, as opposed to doing it over the course of a few movies.
However, I did love the fact that they added Wonder Woman in
Yes,
because I absolutely loved the Wonder Woman movie.
she was a very welcome addition. I don't agree with them announcing her. She could have been the biggest surprise for that film.
Could have just popped up into it, like just kind of like, who's that? Who's this woman? You know, and then all of a sudden, boom.
As opposed to them giving it away. That and also revealing who the villain was.
Yeah.
Like Darkseid. Then it's like, really? You really want to do this? Like you're just ruining it. Like people won't go for that. Doomsday. Sorry. Darkseid. Dunno. Sorry. Darkseid came later. Sorry. But it's just, yeah, there was too much world building in that. But Wonder Woman had a fantastic one. Hers was self-contained as well, with only one or two references to what had happened or what was going to happen.
Yeah, just a picture.
Yeah, a picture and a message.
Bit at the start of the movie where Wayne Enterprises brings the picture to her.
Yeah,
and that's it. Really.
But which is fine. Then stuff like that is fine. Like look at Marvel. Marvel chuck hundreds of references into their films, and you never notice.
I know. Because
like there's so much.
They're subtle about it as well.
Yeah.
Like certain things.
Like some are blatant, but like others are like you have to look for them.
Yeah, and with Batman and Superman and the DC universe, all of them seem to be kind of like, look what I'm showing you.
Look at this. This is coming up. It's like
I'm wearing a Superman t-shirt.
It's like we're basically spawning the fun for people. Like a lot of people love doing that, going to films and like picking it apart, like to find these things, and that's fine. That like if that's how you want to enjoy it, like by all means. But when you're just blatantly like you're taking the fun away from it, which therefore like it drives people away.
Mm-hmm.
But
and, I also didn't like Jesse Eisenberg as
no, a very strange casting for that.
I hated him actually. It was so irritating. But apart from that, I don't dislike anything about Batman vs Superman except for him. I think it's absolutely brilliant, and a lot of people hate it. That's understandable. That's their opinion. My opinion is that it was fantastic. I think that I agree with you that they kind of showed you straight away that it was going to be in the trailer. They even already showed you that Doomsday was going to be in it, and Wonder Woman was going to come in and save the day. So that was okay. I know what's happening here then.
Yeah. So it kind of killed it, didn't it? Although, like some of the things that were kind of shown in trailer, they still never answered.
Yeah.
That was the biggest like kick in the balls, really. Like you show Bruce is looking at his like memorabilia, and you see the Robin suit.
Yeah.
But yet there is no real reference.
No.
To say
apart from that's it. That's your reference.
Like the only reference was like to 20 years I've been in Gotham. Don't know, like, how many, like,
many-
sickos and clowns, don't know, I fought.
How many good guys left? How many stayed that way?
Don't know, like, that is the only fucking reference, and it's like, that's not much to go on, because there's loads of characters that he could be referring to.
Yeah.
Don't know, like, the only one that seems to be still there, apart from Alfred, is, like, Gordon. Don't know, although that was a very shocking, like, casting, but great as well. Like J.K. Simmons, don't know.
Yeah, he was good.
Like,
For the little bit that he had in Justice League.
yeah. Which is a shame, because, like, it kind of set the tone. It's like, ooh, I definitely want to see this pairing in a future film.
Yeah.
Don't know, for, like, Batman and Jim
Shame.
Gordon.
It's a shame that people just wouldn't leave Ben Affleck alone, because he was gonna do another Batman movie, and then they just wouldn't stop asking him about it. So he said, "No, I'm out."
Yeah. I think the reason why, like I think anyway, for Ben Affleck, is the fact that, like, he wasn't allowed to do it his way. And by doing that, you've basically, first of all, you've alienated, like, a potential future director for one of your films, but also your main cast. Yeah, I've lost track of where I was going.
You were talking about Ben Affleck and
Oh, yes. The fact that, like, your potential, like, director, potential, like, your main star, that you're alienating him. But I mean, like,
unfortunately, because of all of this, so many of the stars from the DCEU gone. Batman, Superman gone, Cyborg gone. The only people that are left now are
Gal Gadot for Wonder Woman, and, like, Jason Momoa is scheduled for a second one.
And also
The
the
Flash.
Flash isn't all the way out, nor is he all the way in either.
Yeah, like, they can't decide if they want to go ahead with him or not. So, which is a shame.
He's open to doing it because he was in the big the TV show.
He's
Crossover with Flash.
He's still contracted with, like, because it's Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers are also doing the Harry Potter, the Fantastic Beasts,
Yes.
which he's involved in.
True.
So they still have him for that. So they're just trying to bounce around the schedules.
Doing it though.
Yeah.
So I hope they work with him.
But yeah, like, so that's why, like, Ben Affleck probably decided, fuck this, I'm done. Like, and I think, like, if they had let him do it his way, it actually would have been a very, very good film. But on the other hand, though, like, we now have Matt Reeves directing the Batman. Now he's cast Robert Pattinson as, like, the title character, Batman. Now, we've only seen one or two photos of him in costume.
And then we're standing beside the Batmobile.
The Batmobile finally is a car again. I'm delighted. I'm delighted that it's actually a fucking car. But not enough to go on at the moment. Like, definitely not enough.
We're not going to have a look further down the road, you know.
But, like, I'm hoping to try and avoid as much as possible, because I do want to enjoy it. I don't want anything spoiled. That's why I avoid trailers now. I might watch the teaser, like, trailer, and that'd be it.
You might see a picture.
Yeah.
You know,
but other than that, like, I won't actually actively seek it out.
The theatrical trailer.
Same when I did it with Rogue One. I avoided everything, and I fucking loved it because I enjoyed it. Same with Rise of the Skywalker. I did that. I liked it.
Not as much.
Not fantastic. Like, I wouldn't call it, like, a satisfying end.
No.
But then again, this is a series. That was a series that went on for well over 20 odd years.
I know, yeah.
So expectations for that is, like, you weren't gonna please everyone with the ending. Like, don't know.
Crazy how long that series has been going.
It'd be the same. Same can be said for people that love Game of Thrones. Don't
Yes.
know, like, and they followed it religiously. Don't know, like the ending wasn't gonna be
I know, yeah.
the best for everyone.
People weren't gonna get satisfied.
No.
No matter what happened.
No matter what happens. So it's just one of those things. But I'm hopeful for the new, like, the Batman. Don't know,
Yeah.
I'm hopeful for the next, like, few DC films if they do decide to go that way. Like, Marvel has just absolutely killed it.
Yes.
In
I mean, it's, in the film side, film-wise, Marvel has been the best. I've always favored Batman. I like a lot more of the superheroes from the Marvel universe, but I like Batman more than I like any of them.
yeah,
So,
like I find it like Marvel have done a fantastic job with introducing characters and making you actually want to invest in them.
I mean, for instance, if I just mentioned the name of one of the superheroes, you would think of the MCU version of him.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I said Iron Man, you think of Robert Downey Jr. If I say Thor, I can't even think of any other kind of Thor. I think of Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah.
That's it. You know, and that's the way it is, and that's the way it's gonna be for a long time.
But that's also how
Even though
long.
they're at the quitting out of this. Well, some of them have.
Some their contracts have finished,
Yeah.
but that doesn't rule out that they'll come back.
No.
Like for now,
Robert Downey Jr. is done.
for now,
Chris Evans is done
for now.
for now. But also, like Black Widow, you'd think of Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah.
Like even though she's finally getting a solo movie, kind of a bit irritating that we already know she's dead.
Like yeah, spoiler alert, but
Oh yeah.
we don't care. But like in regards to that, like the Black Widow thing, I hate the fact that we're getting that now.
Yeah.
Like for a character that's been around for X amount of years, since Iron Man 2, which is basically close to 10 years.
Yeah.
But only now she's getting her first movie, like her first and only solo movie.
Yeah.
Like realistically, you could have put her in the Captain Marvel spot.
Yeah.
And that would have been fine.
Yeah.
Because at least then you would be invested more for when the eventual death happens.
Yes.
In Endgame.
I mean, it was sad anyway, but like it would have been.
But
more
you would,
impactful.
yeah, it would have been the likes of with Captain America and Iron Man. The fact that like we'd been around them for so many films and so many years.
Yeah.
We'd been invested in
Sad
those
to
characters.
see what happened to Iron Man. Happy to see what happened with Captain America. That would have been the emotion that you would have felt for Black Widow, but because of the fact that she's been just kind of our character on her own.
She was the
same as Hawkeye.
She was just the token woman of the group. Unfortunately, not many people are gonna like that, but unfortunately, that's the way it is. Then they had to have a woman in the group. She fit the mold, like Black Widow, because of her history in the comics of being with Shield.
Yeah.
But then realistically, she should have gotten a film long before like Endgame, not after.
I know. Like, I know a lot of people liked it, but I would have preferred a movie about her a few years ago rather than Doctor Strange or, as you mentioned, Captain Marvel.
Like Captain Marvel, I feel was just shoehorned in just to fill out that
the big ass fight in Endgame.
Which is kind of silly. Like you could have introduced Captain Marvel right after Endgame, or during Endgame.
Yeah.
She would have been like.
Yeah. Actually, I think that might have been a good idea if they had just brought her in. You know, like that. That would have been. Fury did their thing. At the end of
that alone would have been
War.
the great fucking.
And then she just arrives. That would have been perfect. and then you kind of saw some of her powers. I know they kind of fleshed out her character in the
Yeah,
movie, which is
it's
good, but
but
it's not necessary. And a
it
film
wasn't.
for Black Widow is definitely more
It was
necessary.
more necessary, didn't it? But they obviously she wasn't on the high priority. But in regards to the Marvel movies, they've done a fantastic job in telling this overarching story over a long period of time. Done a like as we said, Marvel have killed it in regards to movies. Done a whereas DC have fucking floundered and just like fallen face first. Like
Animated series though.
animated series, DC rule.
Yeah.
Like
Any other aspect of that kind of the branching out into different
yeah, different
territories.
ventures.
The games, the animated series, the movies, the animated movies, they were all great.
DC,
Marvel
yeah,
owned the movie,
yeah,
the proper
the
movie.
live action movies. They rule that roost. DC own like DC rule the animated movie. They just know how to tell like and showcase like good animation as well as a good story.
I mean, when we were talking earlier about most of the time with a series of 3 movies, like a superhero movie, that the third one is always bad. Not the case with the Marvel movies because, well, I didn't like the second and third Iron Man movies, but I absolutely love all 3 Captain America movies.
And look at Thor.
Thor Part 2, people hate that movie.
People hate it, but I actually thought it was really
I think it's
good.
fine, and I think
And
3
Tree
is
was
so
fantastic.
funny. You know,
Tree was fantastic.
yeah.
I loved it.
That fight between Hulk and Thor was
It's like
brilliant.
the Incredible Hulk. Yeah.
He's a friend from work.
Like that alone, like that movie alone, like introduced characters that would come in like the like Endgame, that you wouldn't think like would have a big impact. I mean, Valkyrie, was introduced as just an extra character there.
Yeah, I know.
But
Yeah, the big rock guy.
yeah, Korg, I think it
Couldn't
is
remember his name.
the strangely Australian guy.
Yeah,
Playing Fortnite.
that guy's on again. He called me a bad name.
Like that's where like Marvel like really showcase what they can do with characters. Like taking certain licenses with, but like it's exciting to see what happens in the future like with them.
Mm.
I mean, like obviously like during the course of the MCU, like they reacquired like Spider-Man,
Yes.
which was a big
Big deal.
fucking deal. Like for Civil War, like they got Spider-Man as a fucking surprise.
Yeah.
Like they released the initial trailer, nothing there. Then they brought out the actual
The
like
proper trailer, and then
proper trailer,
that part where he flips over Cap's
and
head and
it was the reveal, and just cuts out, and it's like everyone's just like oh losing their shit, like proper. But like since then, like you've had him interact with these characters, who in the comics has had ties to nearly all of them, like
yeah, he's worked with Thor and Iron Man, everybody. The Hulk.
he's worked with them all, but like it's the fact that like now you get to see we're not getting the recycled like Uncle Ben has died, so blah 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 blah. Everyone's seen it too many times,
There was 2
fucking origin
2
stories.
series movies that had that origin story told in.
It's too many and it's too short of a time for that kind of thing. But because of being with Marvel, Marvel can take from all their stories
Yeah.
and actually bring it out there. Whereas the clause for Sony is that when they reboot Spider-Man, they have to tell it. Dunno,
Oh yeah, that's right.
that's part of their contract. They have to do an origin. So therefore, like, that fucks them over. Dunno, but to be honest, like, I just hope this deal stays put,
Yeah,
because he is gonna be potentially the first character to transcend both universes.
true.
Dunno, like, you have Morbius coming out.
Oh yeah,
Dunno,
yeah.
with Jared Leto. Dunno, like, he didn't do so well, dunno, before, but like
With Joker, yeah.
dunno, like, people slate him for that, but I think that was a case of not he wasn't essential for the film,
Yeah.
but
I mean, he was barely in it.
he wasn't in it enough to really showcase what he could do to make people like him, because it's a
Exactly.
tough film to kind of do, because you're dealing with a bunch of people.
Yes.
Not just like, all right, 5 people you have to deal with. No, this is like, you have a whole squad, then you have to build the villains, then you have to build this. Don't know,
And
like
then you
this.
have the Joker storyline in the background.
Yeah,
That's also going on.
which you can't do. You can't do that. Don't know. Joker is meant to be at the forefront for everything.
Yeah.
Don't know, but like, not enough time to showcase what you could do. So unfortunately, he gets a lot of shit for that. Don't know, but I think there is potential for it. For that particular iteration of Joker. It may not be him going forward,
No.
with DC, because with Birds of Prey they kind of tiptoed around it.
That's true.
But
And I also don't think it's going to be Joaquin Phoenix either.
no, that's a separate
standalone.
thing, separate standalone. Like, that was amazing. I've done my review about that, and it was just fucking great fucking film. Very enjoyable. Like the, but I am excited to see more like Jared Leto as Morbius, because Marvel have an unbelievably good track record of when they cast people. Because when they cast people, they don't really just throw them out there and like hope it works. No, they pick the people that are more suited to the role. And if you go back and look at it, they've had like even supporting characters in films. It's like, Jesus, you can't imagine anyone else being that. Like, they took Chris Evans, who was like the Human Torch in the first attempt,
God.
which didn't really like it. It was passable at the time, but when they used him as Captain America,
I can't think of anybody else as Captain America now.
like, that's when like that actor's like potential really like came out, didn't
Yeah.
it? Like, you look at like people that they've recast or redone, you can't imagine anyone else being those
No.
characters. Like Doctor Strange, like Benedict Cumberbatch, you can't picture anyone else being that, or Chris Hemsworth as Thor, or
All of them.
Robert Downey Jr. It's just like it's unbelievable. So that
It's a shame when they do actually recast people, because if they hadn't just kept them as there, or brought in that person that they used in the sequels or whatever in the first place, it would have been brilliant. Like Rowdy Watson,
Yeah.
you know, if he had been him
From
in
the first one.
that would have been fine. But because of the fact that you watch that one, you watch Iron Man 1, and it's Terrence Howard, I think his name is.
Terrence Howard,
And then it's what's the guy's name? Don Cheadle.
and then it's Don Cheadle, yeah.
Yeah.
Dunno.
And then you have Ed Norton, then Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah, but Mark Ruffalo, like,
Mark Ruffalo's fantastic. I think if they had brought him in the Incredible Hulk movie, because you have all of that situation going on, and if you go through the entire series, you're like, well, wait a minute, what?
yeah, like, Incredible Hulk is still actually like part of. It's actually the second movie in the MCU.
Yeah.
When you look at it. But I get it. Like,
There's
obviously
nothing
it
to
wasn't
do about it, you know.
it wasn't a proper Marvel film. Like whereas like with proper official Marvel films, dunno, they do cast the right people. Dunno. Uh, like you have Venom 2 coming out, dunno, like hopefully in
Oh
October.
yeah.
Like
I didn't mind that one.
the first one was good, dunno, enjoyable, dunno, trying obviously to explain everything without having to tie in Spider-Man.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see how they do with the likes of Carnage and if they're gonna cross over with Spider-Man eventually. That's exciting to see. But
Or have a different Spider-Man. Just have a, don't have him revealed and see what it is.
yeah,
Just
you
have
never know.
Spider-Man
Like
flying through. And
they could
saving the
tiptoe
day.
around that, like with the Sam Raimi version, don't they? Like Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh yeah. Isn't in the Mobius trailer that the picture of
The
Spider-Man
Sam Raimi one, yeah.
is him? Yeah, I was just gonna mention that.
Like someone had mentioned that they're trying to do that, where it'll be a different iteration of Spider-Man, but going through the same things, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it would be interesting. Don't know, but like comics, movies, TV, games, video games, like DC ruled that one as well with the Batman series. Don't know.
I know that Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man game that came out for the PlayStation was good. I didn't play it because I didn't have a PlayStation.
Yeah, like Marvel, like actually had a big hand. It's the first time in a while that they've actually done it, where they've had a major hand in the game. Don't know, but like it really paid off because they told a fantastic story. Don't know, and not bogged down by like the usual way, like the usual things. Don't know, but yeah.